Hi guys, another item to have a look at. This is my old extension reel, 25 meters, has a RCD protector on it. Had this probably 20 years now, come to think of it, well over 10 years, and using it recently, the RCD unit made a few funny noises and sparked and smoked and stopped working. Now, it is supposed to protect us and stop working if there's a problem, but it seemed to be a problem here rather than at the other end with what I had plugged in with it. So we'll take it apart and have a look. I have plugged it back in again since, and it hasn't magically restored itself. And I have done a few little checks with my meter for continuity. Not sure if the camera will pick up that beep. So if I check the earth, as we call it, or ground, on a UK plug into the middle point here, you can probably hear it. So the earth is continuous. If I go on to the neutral, it's not in contact with the neutral, it's not in contact with the live. That's what we call them. I think you call them hot and something else in other countries. And also, if I go on to the neutral, which when we turn it over the other way and plug it in, would be this one. With the UK sockets, you can't just push a probe in there unless you have something in the earth socket. If you have that, it then opens the little trap doors and you can reach inside. You probably can't see what I'm doing because my hand's in the way. Anyway, what we don't have is continuity from the neutral on the plug to neutral here, which makes me think this thing has actually disconnected it. And just in case I'm doing it the wrong way around, try it in the live, and we're not getting it there either. And if I swap that over to the other side, nothing, nothing. So whatever's happened in here, it's actually disconnected the potential live from this end, which is what it's supposed to do. I could just have a look at that fuse. I don't think it's as simple as just the fuse has gone. That doesn't want to come out. There we go. So if we go across the fuse, yeah, fuse is okay. So it's not just the fuse is blown. Right, to get this apart, we can just unscrew here, and that will just give us access to the terminal cover. That brings that off. So I could quite simply replace this just by reconnecting on there, or connecting a new one on, without having to take this apart. That's what I'm trying to say. To take this apart, you need a special screwdriver, one of these sorts, which you can get in packs with all sorts of security type screw bits. I've had that for a good few years as well, but I'm sure you'll find them on eBay or somewhere like that. So I should, if I'm lucky, be able to undo that. That one's actually a little bit big, that screwdriver bit, but looks like it does the job. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this down here. We could move that out of the way and you could see a bit easier. Right, is that going to come out, or is there other screws? Might have to take all this out to be able to remove it. Looks like you've got to take it all off. Shouldn't do that, you're going to stab your hand. So I say, I should just be able to buy a replacement RCD plug, but we might as well have a look inside it, because that's what I like to do. Right, is that going to come apart now? Oh no, we've got a screw there. That's what we've got to get undone. Right, okay. So what actually went wrong is the question. I'm not seeing any burnt black bits that would make it easy to identify. Oh, I say that, I can see some burnt. Let's zoom in a bit there. Go into macro mode. Right, if we're in focus, you can see some black smoke down the bottom there. So that's where the magic pixies escaped. Alright, in that case we probably can take it apart and have a look. Right, I've taken those two screws out of there and there, because they're the only two screws I can see that are holding anything in place. Right, struggling to get it apart here. Took out those two screws, that lifted a little bit at this end, and I'm working away at it and bits are moving, but we're not getting it apart. I've finally worked out what the problem is. Just there, there's a bit of wire pointing up with a big blob of solder on it. That, I reckon, is coming off the back of there. are earth or ground. I reckon that's directly soldered on there, so you can't just lift it off. So I've either got to unsolder that, well in fact I think that's all I can do. I'll have to set my soldering iron up, heat that up to melt the solder, and then we should be able to lift it off. And then we'll be able to have a better look at the rest of it. Right, I've taken the screw off there so we can see it a little bit more clearly. This is the bit we want to get to. I want to try and get to it without burning all the other wires. There we are. Done it. Right, well we can see a bit of shininess in there where something went too hot. We'll just have a look under here. I've undone the screws. Don't know if it'll come out. It's just the protector that goes over the back of the pins. Yeah, it's all loose. So that ought to just come out. There we go. Right, so at least we can see in there. So I'll just point out the detail. With UK plugs, that's our live, the red wire, neutral, the blue wire. That's where our fuse goes in the back. That one, so that there's a fuse in the live circuit, and it comes round there up to here, neutral comes round here up to here, and those two contacts there, which are a little bit dirty, are the ones that would make contact here, and then this solenoid in there, which you're supposed to be able to test, when the power's on it, they would come down and make contact. And when the RCD trips, it actually springs out and breaks the contact. I don't know if I'm explaining that clearly enough, but that's what it does. I'm at a bit of a loss to work out exactly why it's got all overheated just here. I mean, it does look like that track has vaporized just there. There's even a gap there. So yeah, that's what's happened. That track there has vaporized. Can we see it clearer here? Yeah, this is what I'm saying. That bit of track there is vaporized. It's overheated and melted. Or more than melted, completely disappeared. But why should it do that? I'm not going to go trying to put power on it. You'd have to watch bigclive.com to see him start connecting up live power to it. But in there, there's a solenoid which is pushing this in and out. I would guess with power on, it pulls it in, and when it kills it, it would automatically push it out. That would be logical. When it's dead, you want it to push it out, not you want it to release contact, not make contact. That's vaporised quite a lot now I look at it, because that's gone there as well. That bit of track's gone. So that's gone, that's gone. I don't know if the track went up there, I don't think it did. So anyway, regardless of that, my only fix would be to buy a new one of these RCD plug. Somebody want to know what that chip says on it. P016AD or RV4145AN. Sun's gone in now. Anyway. I'm not sure, but I may have found the problem. Nothing I can fix, not now anyway. But this ought to slide in and out easily. So I reckon that's got wet. That ought to just slide in and out, easy as anything. And it doesn't. So either that's dramatically overheated and melted inside, or that looks more like that's got wet and rusty, doesn't it? That's what I think that is. I think at some time over its history it's got left out in the rain, or something's splashed water over it. Yeah, that's what the problem is. Because that spring should be enough just to push it in and out. And yet I'm having to use all my force to push that in there. And it's certainly not springing out. Well, I've gone a stage further and I've desoldered the solenoid from on there. Just reading what it says. It's like EM90602. The center tap just fell off, so I should think that's burnt out. Well, logically, looking at all the burn mark around it as well. So that's quite interesting the way that all went wrong. I've spent a bit of time working on that, trying to make it a looser fit. But that's, although it's smoothly going in and out, it's still a tight fit. It doesn't spring out with that spring on it, which could be that that's overheated and crushed up or become misshapen when it overheated. I've tried measuring across there and we're getting nothing across there at all. So yeah, we're not going to be putting this one back together. Not really much point. I mean, technically you could probably get another solenoid to go in there. Then you'd have to repair the tracks. But I think it'd just be cheaper just to buy another RCD plug. They're not cheap, but it'd be cheaper than trying to source the individual bits. And get it all back together. I'm sure somebody will say, oh, you can buy that somewhere, so and so, buy the solenoid for 50p somewhere. Well, maybe you can, but I think I'll buy a new plug.
Thanks for watching. You'll find more information down in the video description. You might like to watch that video up there, and you might like to subscribe over there.